The Devil in the Details by Sean Lancendorfer. He stood at the crossroads, just as the story said. It was terrifying. He needed to submit himself fully to receive the hands necessary to play what was in his heart, though it was more of the mind, to be honest, and he'd have no heart and soul to heed once the deal was done. There was no one there on that dusty road, nor the one that crossed it. No car in sight or hint of life for miles. It came, not from a word or ritual, but a knowing, a hunger. There it stood, and even the wind stopped to hold its breath. This was the big one, Lucifer himself. What luck. He'd gotten the top dog without any haggling. The devil in the flesh. "Hello, sir. Greetings. Pleased to meet you." The words hissed in the air as if the mortal world was not meant to contain them. You could taste the sulfur in every carefully chosen syllable. At least the talk started cordially. Who'd expect the devil to be so polite? A handsome smile and finely dressed, though obscured by the haze and heat. "I'm here to make a deal," he said with a hard gulp of fear. "Lovely," it said while melting the pavement below its feet. "So what do you want, and what are you willing to give to have it?" "I have music in me, and it must come out. I owe it to the world to bring it to reality." "Beautiful," said the one who was cast down. "Simply beautiful." There was a pause, and he saw something in the devil's eyes that shook him. Understanding. I had a song once, but was told never to sing it, that it wasn't my place. The Creator feared a melody greater than his own, and so did away with me. I would love nothing more than to bring your expression to life. "Yes," he said emphatically, "you understand. It's so clear in my mind, but my hands can't bring it out of the ether. It would mean so much, bring so much. Imagine what good it would do, help people even." The devil interrupted him with a playful wag of his finger. Not so fast. Everything has a cost. That's how this world works. What would you need to bring this majesty to life?" "The skills of a master, a virtuoso. If I could just play it, then everyone else would understand. They'd see it too." "I could take your eyes for the fingers to play it, or your ears if you wish to have the mind to put it to paper. Your wits if you want it made real. Have a whole studio of session players bring your glory to life. I know just the place. I'll even play the fiddle on a track or two." "No, I have to play it. Every note, every instrument. I must know just how to record it and what to use, where to put the mics and how to mix and master the whole thing. I have to do it all." "Oh, then I'd need your soul," said the devil matter-of-factly. His heart would have skipped a beat if it had the chance. "That's what I want." The devil smiled. It was not sinister or menacing, but with pride and empathy. "Then reach out your hand, and the bargain be struck. Your eternal soul for your eternal expression. Your art." There was no hesitation in him. He gave that bit of himself with an open heart. His hand was taken by a shadow that came stretching over to claim what was offered. The facade that hazily stood at the crossroads faded, and a grotesque, hooved monstrosity emerged before him to seal the deal. Its laugh echoed through his now empty shell. Suddenly, everything returned to normal, as if the world had just gotten back to turning after being halted in the churning universe of time and space. The memory of the devil's true face faded from him, and the soundscape of nature bled back into the background. The wind seemed to sigh in relief and settle again, for all the lowly mortal knew at least. He was alone, though it was not the usual sinking pull of depression or feeling of loneliness. It was a deeper abandonment. He had lost something, burned all bridges, and cut a tie that supported the whole of him once, unnoticed before, but striking now that it was gone. But what was your immortal soul compared to truer immortality? His music would endure past any other part of him. That would be remembered. That had meaning. Surely, the loss of some intangible love was not so great a loss in comparison to the timeless adulation of the masses. He could live with his cold feeling for now, knowing that it was worth it in the end. Days passed. He returned home, and the music flowed through him. It was as if all was finally right in the universe. All was pure joy and bliss of eternal springtime. The guitar that had failed him before sang as he wanted it to. The piano and strings as he needed them. The melody and rhythm were all as they were meant to be, and they came effortlessly. The struggle was gone. His wasted years of grueling practice were now forever over and done with. He had reached the pinnacle. There was nothing more to strive for. The masterwork of his lifetime was completed in a week. The expression he gave all to bring into the world had bloomed, a piece to rival even the Immaculate Conception, come to fruition by his own hand. He buried the thought. His father liked it, though he preferred his old stuff. His sister and dear cousin were kind enough to listen, but didn't have much to say. Their review came as a simple, good. He couldn't blame them. What critique could be given to perfection? His teacher found it interesting, asking what program he had used to synthesize the instruments. His grandmother appreciated the visit. Friends and family were expected to humor him, but none of them could understand. Not truly. It needed to reach the wide world. There, it would spread like wildfire and change everything. Out it went, and no one cared. No company was interested in releasing his groundbreaking work, but the powers that be were always fearful of something new. It was baffling. What more could they want than a sure thing? There were a few dozen websites and such where he could release it himself. Who needed the old way when so many lined up to undermine the bloated body of what was? He did his token research and self-published. A few plays here and there, but most listeners quit before they had reached 10%. Their loss. If only they made it to the solo, he thought. Then they'd get it. It had not exploded from simple word of mouth in a few days, as he had assumed. He was so sure. But one needed a soul to hope. Weeks became months, not a word. His mother had bought a copy, but she was always the supportive type. The emails that reported his sales came in every month to remind him of his token sale. He decided it was the lack of prestige to his name that held him back. Fame was manufactured. Such a thing could make apologists for even the most over-the-hill and untalented of artists. Imagine what it could do for the deserving. If he played live, then they would flock to him. Everyone would learn of him and finally see his genius. And so he did. But bars full of drunkards couldn't appreciate him. They were there for another shot of swill and to hear a cover of one of the few tunes they knew. A waste of his talent. The local market could not support him, and no booking came for one-man band virtuoso without a name. He had no wish to regurgitate the tired pieces of lesser composers, so working in an orchestra was unpalatable. Equally insulting was the idea of supporting some hack and allowing them to bask in his limelight. Why should he play second fiddle in some backing band, or retread the sophomoric meanderings of others, when he so clearly was the genuine article? It was all pointless if it was not his. Back to the internet he went, deciding posting videos was the answer. If he developed a reputation for his playing, then more people would stumble upon his masterwork. He managed to get a nice little following, but he was one in a sea, and they were all so talented. How many souls had the devil gotten wholesale? His talent should have been peerless. unrivaled, though that was far from the case. Everyone could play. Everyone could sing. There was so much creativity at Tsun. There was little difference between the peaks and valleys. Every post felt tired and derivative, ingenuine. 1,000 birds picking at a few seeds spread about the dusty ground. Limits were pushed until the esoteric or purposefully flawed and simple held as much weight as his boundary-defining technical ability. Perfection was never enough. There was something that captured the heart of a listener that he wasn't able to give. The comments argued who was better among the many, like spectators at a cockfight. There was even critique of his flawless playing. He wondered if that stung more than indifference. He had it all and could make the guitar sing like he wanted, but it had nothing to say. Its cry was a hollow wail. He was not so special in the end, and there was always someone willing to remind him of that fact. Anonymity and a potential lifelong journey of finding expression replaced by scorn and no new horizons. He sold his soul for this?